How's it going,
Hi,
folks? I
everyone.
can see people joining. We're just waiting for people to join. Give us a minute. Thank you. Welcome.
Yep, that's what I was going to say.
So we're going to be talking about creative music production today. I'm Brian, and Jeffrey there you can see on your screen are lecturers, and we have Abby and Lil and Kayan who are students on the program who can talk about the day-to-day student experience. We'll just wait for some more people to join. Give us another minute. Thanks for coming along today.
We might wait till maybe 5 past. We've only got 6 or 7 now, I think. So
we're just going to go through the kind of fundamental aspects of the program, talk through a little bit of the day-to-day, and then give you guys a chance to ask us some questions about anything you want to ask us about. Well, it's a program that needs to be applied for by the 1st of February, which is very soon. So that's just one point to note. You've got to get your CAO application in early because there is a portfolio and audition process that we go through. I'm purposely speaking quite slowly so that we kill some time while we wait for people to arrive.
the presentation we're going to show you, it's based on a lot of the questions that we get during open days. So hopefully it'll be informative and answer a lot of your questions, but any questions you do have, of course, text them in, and Brian or myself or our students will answer them. And if you're not sure, please ask a question because other people might have the same question.
A big part of the process is to see the studios and the venues that you'll be using as part of your college experience. So we'll try to get a video out to you maybe tomorrow morning where you can have a watch of the video and get an experience of virtually, I suppose, what it would be like if we were able to give you a tour of the facilities we use for the course. So we'll just give it another minute and then we'll get going. Hey, Kira.
Hi, Kira.
So maybe we'll kick off, Jeff, will we? Are we?
Let's wait till 3 minutes past.
Okay. Countdown.
Countdown. Engines on. Ground control, so, here we go.
So for those who just joined, we're just going to give a brief presentation of kind of like the frequently asked questions that we get at open events, and then you guys have a chance to ask us any questions. Jeff and Brian are here as lecturers, and Abby, Lil, Kayan, and Kira are here as students on the program, so we can give you both perspectives on the experience as a student on the program.
Okay, should we give it a go?
Okay, going, yeah. So, can you see my screen, Jeff? Can everybody see? Yep. Do I need to? Yeah. Okay, great.
Yep, it's all good.
So let's talk about creative music production. The CAO code is DL838. Remember, you need to apply by the 1st of February, please. Key aspects of the program then, just to go through the main points. The unique access to professional commercial facilities in Temple Bar. So what makes the program unique, I suppose, is that you learn in the professional environment. So you learn about the recording studio in a professional recording studio. The course is shared between IDT and the Sound Training College in Temple Bar. You're in Temple Bar usually 3 or 4 days a week and 1 in IDT. It's split across campuses, as I mentioned. One of the great and unique aspects of the program is the ability to collaborate. So we have lots of collaboration with film students, animation students. Jeff is taking a module on collaboration for animations and audio students, and that's very successful. So that's a great opportunity. Staff then a balance of industry and academic experience. So for example, Jeff and I would be kind of representing both of those camps. So Jeff has a lifetime of industry experience, and myself, I'm working as a postdoctoral researcher for Maynooth University at the moment, looking at headphone audio and improving headphone audio. So we cover all aspects of the field. Practical learning in small groups is a key to any of these kind of programs, and it's kind of common across the board in IDT. To learn about these recording studios and places like that, you need to get in, get hands-on, and we do enable that with the way we use small groups. There you may be in a group of 40 students, but we will break it right down into smaller groups for practical learning. The ethos of the program is the creative use of technology. So we see our graduates as not being intimidated by technological solutions. As things move forward, that's going to become very important in the working world. There's two pathways in the program. Creative music production was the original program, the pathway, and we have a new pathway as of last year, creative music practice, which we'll talk about both now. So the music production pathway, all aspects of the recording studio and software production in depth, all industry standard. There's the software, we get asked what software we use. It's Pro Tools, Logic, and Ableton, and we have students on this pathway developing their own software as well. Spend time honing your skills in the professional recording studio. So lots of time in the studio, lots of hands-on time in the recording studio on this pathway. Cultural context and under the hood topics, like for example, developing plugins for audio software, developing hardware like guitar pedals, things like that on this pathway. Shared modules from the practice pathway with cutting edge production topics such as the ones I mentioned there, and things like audio production for games. So it's quite a forward looking program. Entry then, submit a portfolio or a written piece when contacted after applying. So you apply to this program on CIO by the 1st of February. You get an email from IDT asking you which pathway you're interested in, and if you're interested in the music production pathway, we then invite you to submit a portfolio. I'll talk more about that in a little while. The creative music practice pathway then is more for performers. A new and unique approach, music performance and technological development. So it's all about developing musicianship skills. You come in as a musician and you develop those skills as well as all the music production skills. So also learning about the production and creation of music and audio. So don't necessarily do as much work in the detailed work in the recording studio or the detailed software development work. You're more, while the production students are doing that, you're doing solo performance, group performance, artist development. So we have guest speakers coming in, and the two are just arranged today. There's someone coming in to talk about festivals, and she arranges and organizes a lot of festivals. And then there's another guest speaker coming in who is the ex-director of digital in Universal Music. So we'll talk about artist development in those terms. So shared modules from the production pathway with performance and genre ensembles strands. So that's what this pathway is all about. You do the production work, but you also do the instrumental development as a performer. This is an audition as opposed to a portfolio when you apply. So again, if you apply to this CIO by the 1st of February and you say, IDT will send an email and you will say back, I'm interested in the music practice pathway, and we will then arrange likely an online audition for as opposed to a portfolio. So again, more about that in a moment. The program stages. So what are you going to be doing day to day? In first year, everybody's together, both pathways are together, and you learn about the recording studio, you learn about music production and practice, you learn about the software, the common software, the industry standard software in the field, you learn about how sound works in acoustics. You go to, in the second semester, you go to IDT and learn about the broadcast studios, so the TV and film studios there. Music theory. Music theory is taught in a slightly different way than you may be used to if you've done some music theory in the past. It's about, well, let's look at this hit song and let's analyze it and see why it is successful. There's live sound, there's audio fundamentals, and then there's psychoacoustics as well, how sound works in our brains and how we perceive sound. In second year, then this is the music production pathway for second year. So in second year, it's when the production and the practice pathways start to diverge. So second year production, you've got client-based composition. So that is things like you're working with a singer-songwriter who wants a piece in their song that includes oboe and cello, and you've got to write it in a particular mood. So learning about music theory again in those terms in a client-based kind of production scenario. The audio programming is about making your own software, making your own plugins for this audio software you use. You get more into the recording studio and the details of the recording studio. In the second semester, then you do an elective where you choose another topic in IDT like psychology or photography, and you learn about that. You get a taster of that. You do some more production work. You do musicology and contextual studies. Jeff, do you want to mention something about that module as the leader?
Yeah, basically looking at all different genres and different artists, and the students do a presentation. Yeah, so students do a presentation on different genres and different artists. A lot of you would apply to the course and you're very sort of keen on one particular genre, one particular aspect of music. So we try and expand your consciousness in terms of what's out there and where it came from and where it's going. So that's what that's about.
Very good. So just to wrap up then that year for the production students, there's mixing and then there's audio electronics, so making pedals and things like that. In contrast, the music practice students are, instead of doing those detailed music production topics, they're doing a lot of those common modules like the composition module and the client-based production module, the elective, and the one Jeff just spoke about. But there's also then performance in a group, performance solo, and artist development, which I mentioned, the one about the guest speakers earlier. Third year then, again, just to go through these very quick overview of what you'll be learning if you take the program. Third year is all about the focus becomes you start to focus on a major project, which is really about your own personal goals, your own personal project. You take a project, you get a mentor, you move towards making a major significant piece of work. That can be the very varied projects we've had over the years, people working with film students to do the sound for films, people composing, people taking their own music and producing it in studio, those kind of things. You can have a look again on the website. There's a showcase of the projects from last year. That might be really interesting for people to see. Last year was a strange year because of people not being able to be in college as much as usual, but the projects are quite representative of what we usually see. So that might be an interesting one for people to look at, the previous students' projects. So third year also has performance systems, so making your own musical instruments, learning about the music industry, how it works, learning about sound for games and music for games, and working again, collaborating with other students on other courses like film and animation. The music practice folks are doing more group work, more performance in a genre, performance in an ensemble. Fourth year then, finally, I'm just kind of trying to go through this quite quickly so we get a chance to answer any questions you have. So fourth year is all about professional practice. You do this portfolio development module, which is you choose from a number of modules, a suite of modules based on your interests. There's modules on advanced studio work, advanced performance. There's modules on composition. There's modules on emerging technologies where we look at surround sound and virtual reality sound. That's the portfolio development module. There's an academic module on how to write a thesis. There's lots on music industry, lots of entrepreneurship. So you're given a task to pitch an idea for funding in the space of music and entrepreneurship. And then there's another big project, which it's like your calling card when you're finished college, your professional project. And again, to take a look at the IDT site for the projects from last year might be quite an eye opener there, and the massive varied nature of student projects, software development, setting up gigs, setting up labels, setting up collectives, researching different aspects of music and the music industry. Lots of people see it as a step into the working world. So speaking of that, soft skills and transferable skills are a really important aspect of the course from a point of view of work after college. So we do really focus on this. Client-based projects, so we often have people in real-world scenarios working on briefs that maybe have come to some of the lecturers in the past in a professional context. Group project, working in teams is very important. in the working world. Research-based presentations, so getting your ideas across and expressing them. Entrepreneurial, so pitching ideas, working on business plans, that's all in there. More for the production pathway, but programming and coding are important. So again, not being in any way intimidated by technology and being ready for that part of the reality of the working world as things get more and more technical, I suppose. But the application process, so this is something that's quite relevant at the moment as people consider their CAO options. So your entry is based on your CAO points plus your portfolio or your audition. So the CAO points, approximately 50-50, your CAO points and then your portfolio or your audition. Portfolio for the music production people and audition for the music practice people. We usually do try to have an interview with everybody who applies, but we're not sure how that's going to go this year based on restrictions. But portfolio and audition certainly are definitely things we're going to continue with this year. And it's all about showing an interest in the course and an awareness of the course. We don't want you to have perfect audio for your portfolio if that's your choice. We don't want you to have grade 8 standard performance if audition is your choice. It's more about showing an interest in and an awareness of the course. And maybe some of our student representatives would like to talk a little bit about how the portfolio and the audition process went for them. Was it friendly? I better turn on the light.
Yeah,
you guys talk about your experience there, and I'll turn on the light.
You're a little bit dark there, Brian.
I just remember, like I wasn't even planning to apply for the course, and then I accidentally stumbled across the course, and I was like, sure, why not? Like I may as well do the portfolio and go in for the interview. Like what's the harm? And I'm pretty sure it was, I can't remember who was doing like the tour of the place, but I just remember after like walking around and seeing the studios and everything, and I was like, okay, this isn't as like bad as I thought. And then not bad, but like painting the wrong picture here. But I went home and I was like, okay, I look into this, and when I looked into it, I was like, oh, like this is really good. So then when I put it as my top choice, I was a bit like, oh, like I don't really know much about it. And then going into first year, it was like, yeah, okay, good decision here. But I remember sitting down at the interview, and I think it was you. Yeah, it was yourself and Jeff actually.
Yep.
And because I think one of my friends had done her interview before me, and she came out and she was like, they're really intimidating. And I went in and I came out then and I was like, what are you talking about? They were so like, it was just how it worked with me was really strange, but it was like in the best possible way. And it was really comforting going into that interview knowing that you were just so kind of relaxed about it, and you just wanted to see the enthusiasm and what the thought process of everyone was.
Very good.
Very good. I don't think we're intimidating. Maybe it was just maybe we asked the wrong questions or something.
Very good. So we'll keep going, and we'll let people give people a chance to ask questions at the end. So the portfolio is what we'd like to see. You'll get an email to say, thank you for applying for DL838. Would you like to apply for the production or the practice pathway? Production will involve portfolio. Ideally, you send in, the portfolio itself has two options. One is an audio submission of pieces of music you've worked on, and the other option is for people who mightn't necessarily have access to music production software, and that's an essay or a piece of written work. So let's talk about both now. So the portfolio, we ask you to try and demonstrate contrast in your two pieces if you're submitting two pieces of audio, so perhaps something that's beat-based and something that's not. We ask for provenance. It is very, very important. So what did you do? You might submit for us a piece of music performed by a band, and we want to know, are you a performer? Are you a producer? Did you record it? Did you play drums? These kind of things. So you add a note to your portfolio submission based on exactly what you did and what your role was in your portfolio pieces.
And also how you feel about the pieces, how you'd make them better, how you'd improve them, what limitations you may have had when you worked on them. So that's kind of a self critique, I guess. That's super important. So that's part of the description going with those 2 pieces of audio.
Absolutely. And then the other option is for those who, for whatever reason, don't want to submit or can't submit pieces of audio, there's an option to submit a written piece, so a reflective written piece that is your reflection on, say, a gig you attended back when people attended gigs, or a reflection on a particular album or a particular artist that has really inspired you. And it's more of a personal, reflective piece. It's not a research study on the life of a particular artist or anything like that. It's much more about your particular response to music that you love or a gig that you attended that really stuck with you.
So if you're attending a show, talk about how the sound changed as people came in, talk about the anticipation of the crowd, look at the lighting, look at the staging, look at the arrangements of the songs, at the sound itself, if it changed as you moved around the venue. So we just want sort of ownership that you've actually been there and you've listened really hard and you're sort of getting as much information as you can about the artist rather than just being a spectator.
What would you have done if you had access to an orchestra as the production manager of the show you went to? Those kind of things. The audition then, so again, lots of information coming at you, but again, just to reiterate this process, you apply on CAO by February the 1st. You get an email from IDT saying which pathway would you like to apply for. Production is the portfolio we just talked about. Production is that pathway that goes into all the detail of lots of time in the studio, lots of the under the hood studio topics like software development, that kind of stuff. The other pathway is practice, and it's more performance based, but it does have all the production elements as well, just less of the detailed pieces there. So this involves an audition. So this is like where you just showcase your musicianship, I suppose. So 3 minutes, and it's very open brief. So showcase your creative musicianship on your instrument of choice. We take we're very open to auditions on any musical instrument, really. There's some details on the website about that. Again, this is not, all genres are welcome. It doesn't have to be your pieces for your grade, whatever performance. It's not like that. It's much more of an open brief. This is not a pure music performance degree. This is much more of so practice is the key word here. So it's all about the solutions to create your own tracks, to create your own music to record and produce yourself, as well as performance and your development as a performer. You can think of it as the start of a conversation. So we will ask you about, tell us about why you played that piece, tell us about why you chose that piece. So again, your interests, your desire to study in this field, and why, to show us that you've really considered your options is really what it's all about.
Yeah, and it could be one of your own songs. It could be a cover version. You can have a backing track if you like. Songwriting isn't, it's embedded in the course as such. It's not a separate thing that you study, but it's very much there. That's one of the questions we get asked, I get.
Brian, someone's asked a question saying, when do you get feedback or results from the audition?
That's a good question. It's usually around Easter time, Jeff, I think, if I remember correctly. Is it? There's a formal email goes out and you get a score, and then you have that score to match with your CAO points.
Yeah, so it would be, Easter is around about the beginning, first week of April, so it's around about then.
So usually then the next thing we do is we ask people to attend an open day in Tampa Bar to see the facilities, to see the spaces. We're just going to try and get a video to all attendees today to give them a sense of the spaces, because we can't have people in at the moment due to the restrictions. But yeah, that's the presentation part. So let's open it up for questions now. If anybody wants to ask us anything, please do so.
I'm just going to answer one question that came in a mail today. Someone was inquiring about direct entry into second year. So you can apply for a second or even third year or fourth year if you're super experienced. And there's no quota for mature students. There's no quota for FETAC students. We only have places if there's 1 or 2 people haven't progressed to second year. So there's no sort of set amount of people that we will accept. You apply via CAO for direct entry, and it's once again it's portfolio and interview based, so it's the same deal. It's the same process.
Yeah, we've had some people be very successful in moving directly into second year after doing, say, level 6 somewhere else, and their portfolio is strong based on that. So that's an option.
Somebody's asked as well, does the same apply for the portfolio to do with the grades? Do you get a grade at Easter?
Yes. It's all the one thing.
Someone else asked, can you give what an average day in Temple Bar and the IDT campus would involve?
Why don't you guys answer that?
Fun. But it's very it's actually very relaxed again. Like it just, you make it seem like all the lecturers we have make it seem like it's a hobby more so than a class, or here's a piece of information more so than you have to learn this. And it's very much like it doesn't feel like it's being forced on you, and like everyone is there for the same reason, and it's really like it shows.
Yeah, I feel like the lectures are very like conversational and like up for discussion for everyone to talk about what we're learning. And we're in IDT campus 1 day a week in first year, and then 4 days a week in Temple Bar, so you're in town most of the time. And I think Wednesdays were our most full days, weren't they?
Yep.
Oh, I can't even remember back to last year.
Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I suppose the IDT classes are really about what works on that campus. So the film school stuff, the broadcast stuff, and then Temple Bar is more about we have the labs for the audio software, and we have the studios. So that dictates the split to a point as well.
Someone asked, how long on average is the Word document portfolio?
Yeah, good question. Sorry, I should have said that, Jeff.
Yeah, so it's about 500 words for the description with the 2 pieces of audio, and it's probably twice that or 3 times that for I don't have the word count with me. We're not really strict on the word count, so it's quite short, a sort of page, I guess, describing the 2 pieces of audio, and maybe 2 or 3 pages if your submission is the written one. There's a question here for the portfolio. Is there a preferred audio type? Yep, it has to be MP3. I think there's a 25 megabyte limit, so whatever you can fit in that limit itself. So 256-bit MP3s, please. We don't want sessions, grabs. We certainly don't want that kind of thing. So MP3, please.
Yeah.
Will facilities be open by September? Good Lord, we hope so.
Yes. It's a very practical course, so at the moment things are challenging, but we're getting through. So we really do hope to open it. But it'll all depend on when it's safe to do so.
Yeah, saying that, we're actually getting some really amazing work from the students at the moment. We've been focusing on them with time management, and they're focused on the actual work itself. And it's very hard working at home, but people are doing incredible work. So we're actually relieved and very pleased with that. There's a question, could one of the students maybe explain how they went about making their portfolio? One of you guys want to answer that?
Yeah, I think this is like a common kind of denominator with all the questions that come in about portfolios, and people are like, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? I don't necessarily think it's on a right or wrong basis. I don't feel like there is any wrong thing that you could do. It's literally your own analysis of your own work, really. Technically, that's all it is. And people panic in like thinking, oh, like it's not what they're looking for, but you're not looking for one specific thing. You just they're looking for something that you want to do, something that's unique to you. They don't want to see something they've seen before. So
That's really well put, Kira. Yeah, it's about ambition and it's about ownership. So we want you to own this file. We want you to know whether it's good or bad. We want you to know what bits work, what bits don't work. We want you to show some sort of pathway thinking, if I did this to it, if I knew a bit more about mixing, then I could do this, or if I had someone that played this instrument, then I could add that to it. That's the kind of thing that we're looking for. We don't want super highly polished stuff, because that's not what we're about. We're looking for sort of raw ambition and enthusiasm.
Something you're happy to chat about. We will, if we get to do interviews, which we hope maybe we will this year, maybe we won't. We would ask, why did you submit what you submitted? What does this piece of music mean to you? So something you're happy to chat about and you're excited about. And again, I would highlight, does not need to be mixed or mastered to a professional standard by any means. We've had very successful, high-scoring portfolios that were recorded on phones. It's not an exercise in perfection by any means.
I think we will actually be talking to you. We'll definitely be talking to you. It's whether it's online or in person. I think that's probably the issue. There's another question. How many places are there for the course? We're looking at around about 45 coming into first year. And they do, as Brian said, it's the common year in first year, and that splits into the 2 pathways in second year. Another one just saying, hi guys. Any more questions, guys? Go for it.
Someone said, just to double check, the portfolio submitted when requested by you and not before.
That's correct.
Yeah, so just to explain that, it's a bit weird. So we've been online, our portfolio has been actually online for 4 years, but the rest of we were the only course in the college that did that. So the rest of the college has actually gone to this online platform, but we've kept our own way of doing it, which is a mail-based system. So with the college-wide platform, you can actually submit your portfolio now. That doesn't apply to our course. You apply by the CAO, and probably the middle of February, towards the end of February, you'll get a mail from us saying, how's it going? Can you tell us what pathway you want to choose? And then you'll get information on the portfolio and stuff. You'll actually get a mail address to send the portfolio in, and you'll get a date for the audition if that's the practice pathway that you choose.
Someone said, for the creative music production pathway, can you submit both an audio and written work submission?
No, one or the other. But there is a written component to the 2 audio pieces. Don't forget that. That's hugely important, as Kira was talking about.
Someone else asked, how many would normally apply?
How many people apply? Probably 150, between 100 and 150 people. That's where it varies. Probably around about 120, 130, 140 people apply for the course.
Well, that's people submitting portfolios or doing auditions. You often get more than that who apply on CAO. So there is an element of competition in the. We don't want it to become a points race at all. So that's why we have such a strong momentum marks going for the portfolio or audition. But yes, it is worth maximizing your points if you can.
Yeah, we probably get like 70 to 90, 70 to 100 first preferences. And so if we include second preferences, it's probably 140, 150, and then goes on, that kind of thing.
And there's a lot of questions. Someone goes, hi, I was wondering if the Leaving Cert gets delayed and there is a predicted grades option. If I did not have the entry requirements on my predicted grades, would I still have a chance of entry in September of 2021 if the Leaving Cert was delayed until the end of the year?
Wow, I've no idea.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think we can answer that really. It's very difficult. It's I think the predicted grades happened last year, didn't it? And it was kind of okay. A few people were upset, but it generally worked okay. So I wish I could give you more information, but I can't. Sorry.
Mhm.
Someone said, what's your favorite thing about the course? This is for us students. I just love the interactiveness of the course, like how practical it is, and a lot of it is based on like continuous assessment, so you're constantly, I think, like learning and like evolving.
Yeah, I really agree with that, but I also love like how broad it is and like how like diverse it is. Like I came in thinking, oh, you know, you're gonna be in the studio 24/7. You're gonna be on your software for half of that time, but it's actually not that at all. Like first year we did, you know, I thought, Brian, when we were gonna do acoustics, it was all gonna be like the acoustic of instruments, and I'd like never occurred to me. And I remember one of the lads came out of because it was split up into the two groups, one before the other, and one of the lads came out and was like, "Enjoy your physics class." My eyes went. But like it's so broad, and the content in every single module is in such depth. I think it just makes it even more interesting than what I thought it was going to be.
I think like
Yeah, it's actually
sorry. I think like because we're in Temple Bar and we're in IADT, you kind of get like a taste of everything. So especially in Temple Bar, the way we have the studios and you have all that, and then in IADT you get to collab with animation students, which is like amazing as well. And this year we're doing audio for games, so it's kind of like completely different in every module, which is just amazing.
I was actually talking to my friend last night about it. Sorry.
No, sorry, you go ahead.
I was talking to my friend last night about like she's in NCAD and she was giving out about she's doing painting and she was giving out about how like kind of closed off it is. Like she's in second year and she's doing painting and that's all she can do for the rest of her course. And like I've got a couple of friends who are in other kind of arts courses and they're giving out about it, and I really like in this course just how open-ended it is as well. So like you can like specialize in anything you want, like up until like I don't think it gets super specialized really until third or fourth year even, does it?
Yeah, and it's kind of a bit mad. We're crazy in the fact that we will literally accept any major project, any idea once it goes past the sort of pitch process, you know. So whatever you want to do in terms of a major project or a professional project in fourth year, we will accept that and work with you. We will find a mentor or whatever's needed. I think also maybe just to explain that the modules, yeah, they're all there for a reason. We don't just have stuff because we think, you know, this is something that you should know, or this kind of might be a hard thing and you need to pass it, whatever. It's all bits of a puzzle. It sort of meshes together, and by third and fourth year, you can start to choose and specialize in stuff.
Someone said, is the 45, I think they mean the places typically split like 50-50. So I think they mean, is it half music practice, half music production?
That's what we're aiming for. So it's a little bit more towards the production side, but as each year, we've only had the practice pathway for 2 years now. So as that goes, we're sort of aiming for half and half. There's also a question, do the songs on the portfolio have to be a certain length? No, they really don't. I'd be very much against that. A song needs to be the length, whatever it needs to be to achieve what it wants to do. So obviously, if you've got a 10-minute song or an 8-minute song, you know, that might be a bit of a hard listen, but you know, if it's 4, 5, 6 minutes, grand. If it's 2 minutes, fine. So we have no specific length on that.
Someone said, if we're using a program like Logic Pro for the course, does the school have Macs or would we have to buy our own machines?
Yeah, we have a fourth lab full of Macs with all the software on it, so we don't ask that people buy their own machines. A lot of people choose to do so, and we help and advise in that capacity, but there is, certainly in normal times, there's labs, there's lots of space for everybody, and there's lots of computers for everybody. So some students choose to do all their work on campus in terms of the specialized equipment, and some choose to save up and buy their own laptops, and we advise on that. Some students even choose to make their own studios, and I see one here, Kane, in the sheds in their gardens. But yeah, very much so. We have all the gear that you need.
When is the deadline for the CEO application? It's very soon. It's the 1st of February. What sort of careers come out of the creative music production? Well, we've got people running their own labels. We've got people running post-production houses in film, working in that. People working in project management, animation companies. People doing high-level coding. People doing sound design for Ableton. And of course, we've got sound engineers in both live and studio. We've got technicians working in IT. We've got postgraduate students that are doing amazing stuff. And we've got people doing coding, some very sort of high-level coding, and sound design for film and interactive systems. So that's the kind of jobs we're looking for. I would stress again, the soft skills are hugely important. We anticipate people working for Google and Facebook and stuff like that, purely because of the working in teams and working with other people and being able to present yourself. So that's the kind of stuff we anticipate it'll go in the future, as well as all those core subjects.
So lots of industry-based jobs, but equally people are very successful more broadly in the working world. So I just wrote 2 references in the last week. One was for someone going to do further studies in law, and one was for someone going to take a job as an IT analyst for a what's the word? People who sell houses, the estate agents. So working for an estate agent, being an IT consultant, but equally huge potential for working in the music industry, because there's lots of contacts in the course. There's lots of lecturers who can link people in with certain jobs. So we do have an awful lot of people who are very successful in the music industry, both in Ireland and abroad.
Do you ever work with people from other courses in IADT like film? You absolutely do. So as Abby was talking about before, the 3rd year students work with the graduating 4th year animation students, and they do all the audio for their films. They do all the sound design. They work with them choosing actors. They do the Foley, they do the effects. Quite a lot of them are doing the actual music, composing the music for it. There's also little niche things. You work with photography students and art students. There's sort of a lot of crossover, more crossover than any other course in IADT. It's a huge thing, and it's very vibrant sort of thing going on there.
Also helps with the jobs that I do. I've been able to collaborate.
There's a question there about maths, Brian. I saw one of the requirements is maths, but I didn't do on my leaving. I would be applying as a mature student. Could my portfolio experience in the industry count if you thought it was good instead of having maths?
Yeah, I think if you're applying as a mature student, there's 2 kind of pots for mature student applications. You can go into the usual CAO world if you've got CAO points, or you can apply as a mature student. If you're going for the CAO application, you do need to have the minimum requirements. I think there's an element of maths needed in the Leaving Cert. I think I'm not sure it says it. The details are on the website there, but whatever the minimum requirements are needed for a CAO. But there's also mature student entry, which is a different thing, which is based, and there's some places set aside for that. And the admissions team in IADT can answer that question in more detail than us, and they're very good with the requirements and the details. So maybe an email to the admissions team in IADT would be a good idea for that person.
Yeah, I think you're okay as a mature student. That doesn't apply, but as Brian said, definitely check on that. Would the creative music practice pathway be a GPP? What does that mean?
They said underneath, sorry, would the creative music practice pathway course be a good course to become a musician?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We hope you'd be amused.
The idea is that it's not a pure performance degree. If you want to go and be a performer of say classical violin, I guess you should go for a course that focuses on that. Whereas this course is about, I want to develop as a musician, but I also want to learn all these technical skills to be able to self-produce, to be able to work with technology, and to be able to do research in the area. So I suppose that's why it's not called performance. It's called practice, because we see that as being what practice is. You're able to perform in solo and in ensembles, but also be very unintimidated by all the technology that's going on in the industry now.
You're
Yeah,
also
it's,
getting, go ahead, Lil, sure.
it's kind of like focusing more on not technically being a session musician, but kind of more that style, in the sense of you're not like on one thing. You're not like solely like, oh, I play guitar and that's it. You're more focused on like kind of, you know, dipping your foot into a lot more than just one thing.
And I should point out that the tuition on the practice pathway is from real world. It's people that actually work in bands that are highly successful in many different genres. So it's not just sort of academic. It's something that will get you out there. How often is the student given 600 points for a portfolio? I don't know if we can answer that, can we?
Yeah,
It does
rare.
happen.
I think that's very rare, is it?
Did you say it was very rare, or?
I think it's quite rare, is it?
Yeah, it's rare, but it does happen. We marked, to be completely candid, we may have, sorry, we may have marked a little bit high 2-3 years ago, probably less so now. Go ahead, Lil.
Someone said, do the songs on the portfolio have to be a certain length?
I think I answered that.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right. What is the average CEO amount of points that's required to be in the 45 places? Like, where has it been in the past on average? I think on the site, it's got the one will be the last person to get in. That'll be the lowest one. And then there's a medium point. So maybe have a look at the site for that.
It's hard to say about CAO points because it's a combination of the two. It's a combination of the points for the portfolio or audition and the CAO points. So some people may have really high CAO and not so high portfolio and get in, and vice versa, you know. So it's worth just checking that out. And you will have feedback from the portfolio or audition process around Easter time, so you'll know based on what last year was, where you're at and what you need to get in your predicted grades or your leaving cert grades or whatever it might be. But again, it changes year to year, so we can't really say anything for definite.
Do IDT have connections with labels and venues to gain experience in that field of work? Well, we have the Button Factory, so there's live sound, there's bits and pieces going on there. We don't have a sort of a set work experience situation with labels or venues, but we sort of kind of do, if you know what I mean. So
there's a lot of contacts that happen kind of organically through lecturers and their experience and their professional practice. That tends to be how things work in that space. And there is some of the guest lecturers that come in are very high profile, I suppose, and that can help to create links. There is actually now that we think about it, there's going to be coming in third year the option of student placements, student work placements. So that may be something that comes in more so in the future, for sure.
In years gone past, when we had festivals, our students would work on festivals. There's a direct link to go and work in festivals. So that didn't happen this year, but has in previous years very successfully.
Yeah, and I suppose another thing to mention that's relevant is the link, the engagement people have with the industry, students have with the industry in their projects. So we looked at the projects last year, the big projects, and we said something like 80% of them engaged directly with external industry folks. Like there was the people looking at bands, the high profile bands, and working with them and interviewing them for podcast series. There was people interviewing label executives, there was people interviewing studio owners, there was a vinyl factory involved in one of the projects, there was lots of film artists, studio artists involved and linking in. So, you know, if you successfully produce someone as a student project, then often what happens is the student then becomes the professional producer for that artist when they finish college. And these are the way things work. So that's another reason for the project being so open, the third and fourth year big projects being so open. We hope that people can see them as stepping stones if that's what they want to do. And that has often been the case.
Question for Lil here. Lil Jones, are you enjoying your SoundCloud rapping career?
I don't have a SoundCloud and I don't rap. So sorry to disappoint. I don't quite live up to my name just yet.
Okay. Do you ever work with producing live music and shows? Well, definitely the festival link, and there's a live music component in one of the modules. And shows, yeah, I guess we do some stuff with shows at the Button Factory, don't we, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, people can do work experience there, and people can link in with the house engineer there for sure. Yeah.
Mm. Sorry, I'm not quite sure. Any more questions, guys?
Okay, so we look forward to portfolios and auditions. Thanks very much for taking the time to come and see us today.
We know a lot of you are doing a lot of this online stuff, so thanks for putting up with another session. Hopefully we've answered some of your questions, but please get in touch. So Jeffrey Perrin, my email is on the site, the IEDT site for our course. So people are sending me some of their portfolios already and getting feedback. I'm happy to do that. So please feel free to get in touch. Oh, more questions. Oh, there was. Thank you. Sorry. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you guys for taking the time to listen to us, and thank you to our students who took their time as well to be part of the session. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.